Hello and welcome to the Coach's Cup podcast. I am Sonya Green from Sonya Green Coaching, and today I have another exciting guest coach, Coach Temetria McVea, and she is an image and style coach for women. So I am super excited. We're going to talk about making room for what you love. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Temetria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I am an image and style coach for women, and I work with them. I have my process is called the Curate Your Life process. And
Uh-huh.
so I work with women to help them figure out what they want their life to look like, and then how to go about starting to curate that vision, how to take things out of their life that don't fit that vision, and to start to build and bring things in that do fit the vision.
Oh, wow. That sounds, I think I could use you. Most women probably could, though, right?
I believe so. I think sometimes need to they need that space and the permission to really get clear on what they want,
Uh-huh.
and to figure out that it does not have to look like anything that we've been told if they don't want it, that they can really have a vision for their life that is right for them. Like, you can, if you really stop, think about it, spend some time on it, and
Mhm.
figuring out what you love, and unapologetically, right? No, don't put limits on your dream. Don't feel like it's selfish, because I think when we do that, when we figure out what we really want and we start to create that, it's better for everybody.
Mhm. Yeah. Can you think of maybe an example of one of your clients that's made just this miraculous transformation?
Um, well, I was I was my first client, right?
Very
So
smart. Yeah.
yeah, I was living in the suburbs out in a neighborhood with families and kids and a cute little elementary school, and folks would walk their kids to school. It was a great neighborhood, but it wasn't really the vision, the life that I wanted. So I sold my house, and I moved to the city and closer into the city. So more downtown, like walking and fun and hip and cool. I don't know if I'm hip and cool, but it feels hip and cool.
Yeah.
But part of that was, I was living that American dream that people are supposed to, you're supposed to have a
Mhm.
house and you're supposed to do this. And
Yeah.
like, that's not really what I want to do. That's not where I want to be. So it was a big change. And I had a lot of stories in my head about
Okay.
what other people were going to think.
Yeah. And did you get pushback from anybody? Did anybody?
I really didn't,
Yeah.
because people want you to be happy, right? And
Exactly.
yes. So
Yeah.
no, I didn't get pushback.
All
And
right.
I love it. It's been so wonderful.
So you were your first client, and that was more of a physical space, right? Deciding you wanted what other kinds of image and style makeovers do you do? Do you coach women through?
I coach them through, like, their space, it's transforming their environment
Uh-huh.
that they're in. So I work with them on their space. I work with them on the mental clutter as
Yeah.
well.
Talk
Yes.
about that a little bit.
Well, I think a lot of that is a lot of people pleasing and the shoulds, right? Like,
Yeah.
all the things that we think we should do. And just like with my situation, I was had that story and was putting that on myself. That
Yeah.
was not necessarily anybody else's story. I thought I had to do those things, but when it comes down to it, you get to decide what you want, and you have to think about all the things running through your brain, all those
Mhm.
thoughts. And especially when you're putting the telling other people's thoughts, you have those thoughts in your
Yeah.
brain. You have the stories, and so you have to unpack those stories and see if they're really true.
Right. And in your situation, they weren't even true, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I find that often in coaching too. It's like people are convinced that they should do something because somebody believes that's the way it should be done. And in the end, it's all in their head.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And even if if somebody does believe that you have to do something,
Mhm.
that's for them to work through, right?
Yes.
They get to work through that, and
Yeah.
you don't have to, because we know that you can't make other people happy, right? With
Right.
your actions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So what about, do you coach mainly on those um, kinds of physical and mental things, or do people want coaching for getting maybe people cleared out of their lives or habits, that do they want that kind of transformation?
Yes, the habits. That is a big one. And starting to build new habits, right? And I think a lot of times I work with people on creating things that they want,
Mhm.
and to remember that it's something that you're doing for yourself. So
Yeah.
don't look at it as, punishment or punitive. Like if you're working on weight loss, you're really working on your health. Or if you're budgeting, you're trying to build wealth. So telling a different story about it, and knowing that that is something that you are doing for yourself, that you want to do. So
Yeah.
that's why it's important to be very clear on what you want. So then when you're kind of going through the work and you're doing it, you know that you're doing it for yourself to get that thing that you truly want.
Yeah. So what are some tips that you can give us for eliminating these things? Other than
So,
having an image of, making sure you have a clear picture.
right. So have the clear picture. And let's say your wardrobe, right? You can
Mhm.
start to take out the things that don't fit that picture. And I love to send my clients to places like Stitch Fix and different style things. Even if you don't use that service, you can get an idea of what you like
Uh-huh.
and then start to build pieces like that. But first, take out the things that you don't love, anything that doesn't fit, anything that has been needing repair over,
Mm.
so many months or so many years. Get honest with yourself and know that you're probably not going to do that, you know,
Yeah.
and just go ahead and get those out. So then you can bring in things that you love.
Yeah.
The pair of high heels that you got for something and you wore once and they kill your feet. Get rid of those.
But they look so pretty.
They look great, but
Yeah.
they're not doing anything in
They're
your
looking
closet.
great in your closet,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And one of the other tips that I give them is when you're doing that, if you have things that you wore once or that you think, somebody else get use out of, you can sell them on Poshmark or places like that. You can donate them if you want to donate them to like Dress for Success or something like that,
Yeah.
and let them go out into the world and be useful and be loved by somebody. And then
That's a great
find
way to
things that
look at
you
it.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's, and they have that trick where you hang everything one way at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year, if the hanger hasn't moved, you take it out of your closet. I think that's just a little bit delaying the decision. So just take a few minutes. I say take 15 to 30 minutes, maybe once a week, and kind of go through like one closet, one drawer, and break it down into pieces. So you're not spending your whole Saturday, you know,
Yeah.
decluttering a closet and you have a pile of things in the corner that need to go um to be donated, or that type of thing.
Yeah. No, that's definitely, I'm thinking about, I was teaching full time until the end of the summer. And now a lot of the dress clothes that I had, I haven't put on since last winter, and don't really have that use for them anymore. But I hate to get rid of them. There's that story in my head. I might need it
Right.
someday. But
Right.
you're right, we usually that someday is few and far between.
Yes. And even if you don't get rid of, I mean, if you keep a few,
Yeah,
keep your favorites that you absolutely love,
yeah.
and then
That's
donate
a
the rest or sell the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And the other things, one of the other tips is paper. I was bogged down by paper. I've pretty much gone electronic for everything, but that's a big, because you see it,
Mhm.
especially if it's out, that can cause a lot of mental clutter. The physical clutter causes the mental clutter. So
Yeah.
one of my tips is to get rid of paper and go as digital as possible.
That makes me
Does that give you hives?
not hives, but I'm looking at my desk and I have one, two, there's a third one here somewhere, but I have 3 notebooks and I'm still teaching a college class. So I have my notebook for that. I have my coaching notebook and then, a reading journal that I journal in about things I'm reading. And I love having paper. And, it's just because I'm of the age where I grew up having paper.
Right.
I never even used my first computer until I was in college. So, that one's a challenge for me. In fact, my husband laughs at me because I still have a paper calendar. I put things in my phone, but I like to look at my week on paper. Well, you
Right.
can't see it, but anyway.
Well, and I understand that because I do love to physically journal, to write out. And so
Uh-huh.
I do have notebooks, but I'm thinking more like the mail that comes and the
Oh, yeah.
bills and things like that. That just cuts down so much on where do you put them, and you have to file them and you have to gather them together. And
Yeah.
when it's digital, you can have that file and put it in the cloud, wherever that is, and
Yeah.
call it up anytime you need it.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing. My husband, he also does his banking online. And I do banking online, but he'll deposit his checks, take the picture of them, and I still don't do that either. I still
It's
like to drive it to the bank.
it's a process,
It
right?
is a process.
When
Yeah,
you're ready, you can do that.
I'm being kind to myself when I'm ready. I
Yes,
will make the switch.
yes.
All right. Any other tips that you have for?
One of the other things we were talking about the mental clutter.
Mm-hmm.
I teach people to curate their social media feed. Like, you
Oh,
don't have to see it all. It doesn't all have to be there.
uh-huh.
I think that makes a big, big difference. And the amount of time that they spend as well.
So, do you teach people how to go and what to click to fix it, or what do you do?
Oh, just hide the people that you don't want to see, the messages
Okay.
that you can cut down on the advertisements. You can just click on that and say you want to see less of that.
Uh-huh.
Again, I am very selective about who I friend,
Yeah.
and then what I see. And if I don't like their post, they don't have to know that you can not unfollow. Yeah, unfollow, not unfriend.
Yeah.
So they're still there. You just don't have to see them every day.
Right. That would help out tremendously, I'm sure.
Right.
It's tempting to buffer with social media anyway, and then when you get kind of sucked into you keep scrolling because you haven't seen anything you wanted to see yet, and it
Yes.
just kind of I mean, in theory, not that I've ever done that.
Never, me either. One of the other things, I have turned off a lot of notifications,
Mhm.
and because that's that constant, hey, are you there? Are you
Yes.
there? And you don't have to be that available for everybody all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I have figured that part out. I set up a do not disturb period in my day where unless I have it so, if there's an emergency, somebody in my family can get through, but other than that, people don't have access to me.
Yes.
And that has been a huge time saver.
It really is. I think
Mhm.
we don't realize how much time we spend. You think it's just a couple of minutes, and hours have gone by.
Yes.
Yes, and I've had people before do a time audit, like get
Uh-huh.
really, really honest on your time, like
Uh-huh.
every 15 minutes, and it's eye-opening to see what you spend time on,
Oh, yeah.
flicking through the TV, just mindlessly doing
Yeah.
that, or the phone, social
It's so
media.
easy to say, I don't have time to do this or I don't have time to do that. But when I go in and plan my week and honor that plan, I get so much done
Yes,
and I have time to do lots of things.
right. And I think people think that's restrictive. I think it's so freeing
Oh,
when you
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
'cause
then your
you're
work gets done and you're not trying to fit it in at the last minute, or you don't have to say no to somebody because it's already done.
right, right.
Yeah.
And when you spend your downtime, it's quality downtime because you're not thinking about all the things you should be doing
Yeah.
because you know it's on your calendar, it's gonna get done, and that time that you have to relax, you can truly relax.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what about the people? Like, do you ever coach women on if they want to change relationships in their life, like eliminate people from maybe
Yes,
friends that pull them
yes.
down or hold them back?
Yeah. And what I will tell them is like you can slowly ease away. If you have a clingy friend, you can, slowly ease away and schedule like your time with them as well when you have the mental capacity
Uh-huh.
to do it. And you can schedule it. You can block it like an hour. I have an hour for this person because it may be somebody, it could be a relative, right? That
Mhm.
you don't want to completely cut out of your life, but you can really control that
Yeah.
and put put parameters around it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's one of the hardest things. I asked you that because in coaching, that's one of the most difficult things I think people have shoulds around. I should be this person needs me, or it's a family
Yes.
member, and there's all these expectations, and
Yeah.
so that seems to be one of the heaviest, I guess, things to get rid of in your life to eliminate.
Yes. One of the big things I realized was I don't always have to answer the phone when somebody calls.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to answer that call. You can call back. You can
Yeah.
call back. So, and
Yeah.
I have to remind myself of that sometimes, especially I have set some do not disturb times as well. Mine are normally later in the night for winding down and going to bed, but
Uh-huh.
I have an aunt who will call and I'm like, this is almost my bedtime and I don't want to, chat right
Yeah.
now. And it's
Yeah.
okay to not take that call
Yeah.
and to get back to them. That was
Well,
a tough one for me.
and like you said, I think at the beginning, this is kind of bringing us full circle. You're better when you're taking care of you, taking care of your space first. You're better with everyone else.
Yes, exactly.
So you
Right.
can give her more of your, I guess, full attention and uh things like that when you're ready.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Because you have to with not only that, I would say with work,
Uh-huh.
your the times when you have the most energy and the most mental
Yeah.
capacity. So you have to plan for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things I learned early on is that and the number of days I can push through. Like I can give you 110% for this long, but after this, I'm going to need a break or I'm
Right.
going to stop honoring my calendar. I just can't fill it full uh
Yes.
morning to night like I used to be able to do.
Right. You have to make room for regeneration and to
Yeah,
refresh. Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you can think of?
Um, what else? I One of the things I do love organization and the phys the physical space and making sure that's in order because I really think that really helps your mental capacity.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
when you're not looking at a pile of books in the corner or a pile of clothes. So I really do talk a lot about your environment and your physical space and
Mhm.
making sure that's a space that elevates you, that is relaxing. It's a haven. I think when you can get your home and your space to that place,
Yes.
then you can start to do so many other things, like
Yeah.
the mental things and health and things like that.
Absolutely. That is really rejuvenating, I think, because I tend to Well, my husband and I both, we tend to kind of collect and clutter. And so and we have a, you know, a 9-year-old at home, so he does his part too. But when we go through, you know, at some point I'll be like, "This is enough." And we'll go through and put everything away and throw everything away and, you know, box things up and it gives you just it's like a breath of fresh air. It
Yes,
gives you energy to see open spaces again.
yes, it does. I
Yeah.
always say that your home should be a haven and not a to-do list.
Yeah, that's great
Yeah,
advice.
yeah.
All right. So if somebody's looking for you for coaching, how can they find you?
I am at Coach Temetria on Instagram, and my website is coachtemetria.com.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. I think that's something we can all use is eliminating whether it's physical clutter, whether it's mental clutter, paper, you know, whatever. I think that's advice that we can always use and we can always find something
Yes,
that needs to be removed from our lives.
right.
All right. Well, if you are looking for coaching from me, you can find me at sonyagreencoaching.com or you can go to the Coaches Cup Podcast Facebook page. That's always a fun place to talk about the podcast. So if you are eliminating clutter, you know, spring is coming. So this is probably a popular time of the year for you.
This is, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can tell us about what you're eliminating in your spring cleaning.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Temetria.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you next week.